hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Welcome. Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
What are we drinking today?
I am on coffee. It is 11 a.m. So coffee is my choice of drink, whatever hour, to be honest.
I heard that I was told by Dustin Lance Black, the screenplay writer, that coffee is the writer's drink. Is that true?
That's right. It's coffee in pre-production and through production, and then gaffer tape on set. Gaffer tape is the thing that makes all productions hold together and work.
Okay, got it. Well, cheers. Thank you for breaking the ice with us.
All right.
Horrifying reports coming in of a person with albinism.
The myth that consuming people with albinism will bring good luck continues to fuel this lucrative evil trade.
He did this to me!
Are you sure you want to do this, Michael?
Natron thinks he's a god.
Do you think you're more powerful than me?
Death needs to stare him in the face for once, Baba.
This had better be important.
Mansa! When will Mansa start teaching us again?
I don't know.
I want to make him feel very human.
Let's talk about White Gold. I see the poster in the background. What a beautifully heartbreaking film with such an important message, exploring the horrific realities of albinism. So what made you want to tell this story in particular?
Okay, so in 2017, I was self-shooting a documentary for a TV channel in Tanzania, and it was about a missionary couple over from Texas, and they'd set up a sustainable farm, and part of their work there, they'd established an outreach program for people living with albinism. With albinism, tend from the sun, they get early skin cancer, problems with their eyesight, and also horrific problems of persecution, under the belief via witchcraft that the body parts of people with albinism mixed in potions by witch doctors will bring prosperity and good luck. As crazy as and as evil as that sounds to most of us, that is a reality that is on the ground today in parts of Africa. And so I met a young lady who had lost both of her arms to a witch doctor. She'd been held down in her own home and had them hacked off with a machete. And through meeting this girl, as I was driving away from that interview, I just honestly felt like I'd been kicked in the soul. You know, I felt bruised, and it really stuck with me. And so I wanted to make a narrative drama, because through research, there's hardly any films out there that exist where people with albinism are portrayed in a positive light, and particularly about what they are going through. People with albinism tend to be portrayed as the freaks in a sci-fi movie, or the bad guys, the villains. So I wanted to change that. And that is where the root of White Gold came from.
And then you entered it into the Pitchfilm Fund. And can you tell us just a little bit about that process? Because I think it's quite interesting, how the film actually came about.
Sure. Well, these kinds of projects are all well and good, but they need funding. And that is one of the major problems and the major difficulty of the crossover between the corporate world, where there's businesses paying for things for them, and these kinds of stories where it's like, well, where do we raise the finance for this stuff? So there is a wonderful film fund, a competition called The Pitch. And this encourages filmmakers to enter with an idea of a story that is loosely based on some inspiration taken from the Bible. Now it sounds religious. It's not actually a religious competition at all. It's just the premise of the exercise. And so whilst I was out in Tanzania, I had actually been to church and I'd heard a sermon, Job 30, which is talking about affliction and restoration of character. And that sermon ringing in my ears, combined with meeting this young lady that had lost both of her arms, triggered the idea of that would be a perfect concept for this competition. So that was really where it all came from. And then it's a process of there's 150 odd people whittled down to 20 and then down to 10. And then you do live pitching for 2 days at Pinewood Studios at the time. It's now at the National Television Film School. And then they picked one winner. And I was very, very blessed that they backed me and White Gold.
They say it all starts with the script. So I'm super intrigued. You know, I've seen a number of your short films. Whilst doing a bit of research, I watched them all. How do you know when a script is ready, is finished?
Well, that's the $1 million question.
Yeah.
and the more you work your way up the chain and the projects get bigger and the finance gets bigger, the more chefs there are messing with it. So for the good. So basically, yes, it is a very long process. And I think the skill is to remain true to your purpose and what the story you're trying to tell, but remaining open and flexible to other ideas and other inputs, because it is highly likely that somebody else's thoughts and tweaks will add value to your story. So it's that combination of following your gut, but remaining open and flexible.
Open to collaboration.
Absolutely.
Yeah. How do you create a 3-dimensional character that, you know, comes to life on screen?
I think it's about, I think it will vary greatly depending on who you're writing about, what their journey is. But essentially it is trying to find out, it's exploring how that character's journey is going to evolve, what's going to impact them, how are they going to change throughout the story, and most importantly, are we going to care about them and love them? So even if it is the bad guy, the villain, we need to be able to connect with them at some level, and that's where kind of digging into the human stories and human traits becomes really vital. So it's what I tend to do is get the sort of the story down, the narrative of where the journey is going to go, and then within that, really exploring how the characters can evolve and interact with each other and impact on each other. And a good exercise is to keep throwing problems at the characters, where it feels like you want to resolve something here and make it better for them. Throw another problem at them. Okay,
interesting. Let's talk a bit about casting, because obviously that's one of the most vital processes of the entire, you know, production. How do you know when an actor has that thing, that special thing that makes him stand out above everyone else? And then maybe you can just talk about Refilwe in playing Mansa in White Gold and that process as well.
Sure. I think, again, it goes back to a gut instinct on something. And if you're in film school, or if you're learning how to direct something and you're like, right, well, teach me how to know that this person is going to be right. And it's one of those things you just can't really teach. You just have an instinct that what you're seeing is believable to the character that you've written, or that whoever has written it. Your interpretation of that character is what you're seeing in this person. And I think that comes down to knowing and understanding the story better than anybody. So, and that's the job of the director, is to really understand, you know, the complexities of the story, and hopefully the right person walks in and they are that person, which is exactly what happened with Mansa, the lead role in White Gold, played by Refilwe Modisel. And she is Africa's first ever successful model with albinism. And I didn't know who she was when I received her tape. I received her tape like the other actors. And she instantly was Mansa. The way that she was standing and the emotional level of depth that she sort of reached in the casting, which is really hard to do because the director's not there. You know, the lighting's not right. They're just in an office with a script. It's really hard. But she leapt off the page, and she was, undoubtedly the right person to play Manza.
What are some personal attributes that make a good filmmaker, and how do you foster those? How do you foster them?
Perseverance, tolerance, be a social worker. Because that's what it feels like on set a lot of the time, is that you're managing many different personalities. And I feel like a big part of the job is to be a good listener and to make everybody feel heard, but maintaining a level of discipline that your voice is the voice that's followed.
Yeah.
So it's compromise and tolerance, I would say.
Love that. Love that. In your bio, you've got a chance encounter over a broken fence led to your first primetime TV debut, and I couldn't not ask about this. I mean, you can't write something like that and expect people not to want to know the story. So do you mind telling us a bit about that?
Absolutely. So this is the crazy nature of our industry. It's both a blessing and a curse how these things happen. The blessing is that, these miracles can happen, but the curse is, how do you make them happen? I have worked so incredibly hard in creating my own opportunities, writing and directing short films, going to every film festival possible, networking drinks. It's inspiring and demoralizing, all rolled into one. You have been there, you're nodding.
Yeah, I get it. I totally understand, yeah.
And so about a year after making Risk, it felt like that film was coming to the end of its life cycle, and it had gone to lots of festivals and it had done quite well, but I'm wanting to have a career-defining moment. I need a producer to say, yes, I want to work with you, or an agent to say, I will take you on. And that hadn't happened yet. Now, my mum was chatting to the neighbour over a broken fence, and he came round to my mum's house. It happened to be while I was there. Oh, it's the neighbour. Okay, chit chat. What do you do? And he turned out to be a very successful primetime drama director. Downton Abbey, Darrow's Law, all these major series. And I was like, wow, you're living my dream. And he said, well, let me guess, you've made a short film and no one's taking your phone calls. I was like, yes, that. And so he watched my film, and a couple of weeks later we got together, and it really felt like for the first time somebody had actually properly seen my film and absorbed it. He was able to talk back to me about the scenes and everything that I put into it, and see what I see all the intention behind it. And I was like, yes, I'm not going crazy. Thank you. Someone at this level can see what I'm trying to do. And then about 6 months later, I was on holiday, and I got a phone call, an email from him saying, I'm on a new series. I'm shooting Marcella season 3, which is out on ITV at the moment. And there's some scheduling issues, and I need another me. I need to build a second unit to take a whole load of scenes off of me. It's a big, major job. Do you want to do it? Yes.
Yes.
And so I was on the first plane back, and 5 days later, I was on the set of Marcella, directing major scenes with principal cast, and it was both terrifying and amazing, all rolled into one. So that broken fence at my mum's house led to the meeting of the person that gave me that opportunity, which has just put me to the next level.
Insane.
And so again, that's what I'm saying about this is the nature of the business, is that you can do everything possible to try and meet the right people, and then a chance encounter is how it happens. But
it's
I think
ironic, isn't it?
The lesson that I learned from that is just to be ready, be prepared, because you just never know when that person that can make the difference, or that spots that thing in you, is going to show up. And that thing is in us, and we have to fight to keep that flame and that spark alive, because it is so easy to have that flame put out with all of the no's and the negativities and the lack of money and the what am I doing? Am I going crazy? Am I deluded? All of these things are common. So when that one person spots you and says, I see your potential, then it's like, thank God for those people.
All makes sense in the end. Then, what advice do you have for writers, directors that are maybe trying to start? And just some advice.
Okay, so they're quite different disciplines there, and I think what's important is people who are interested in coming into the industry should try to do as much research as possible into these different disciplines, because often people will say, I'm quite interested in being a director or producer or writer. They're very, very different skills, and it's not to say that you can't do there can't be some crossover at some point, but it's about understanding from the get-go what you're getting into. And the other thing I would say is I would encourage people of any ages and at any point in their career that it's not necessarily too late to dip into the film industry, particularly from a creative point of view, because a lot of the successful people or brilliant people that I've seen or worked with or that are out there when you do your research came to the game much later in life. And with that, they bring life experience outside of the film industry. So for someone who's like, well, I've never been involved in writing or I've never directed anything, well, it's going to take you some time to get up to speed, but be encouraged that your unique selling point is the fact that you haven't been involved in the film industry for the majority of your life. What interesting things in your life can you pull on that will make you a better storyteller?
If you could break the ice, meaning have a drink with anyone, past or present, who would it be and why?
Okay, this one actually came true for me. So
cool. Okay.
So I hopefully that qualifies.
Anything.
But, 2 weeks before my honeymoon with my wife, we had a very similar conversation. Who would we have a drink or a dinner with if it could be anybody? And we were both having this conversation just completely randomly, and mine was Russell Brand. Okay. So I don't necessarily agree with everything that he says, but I think he's got a brilliant mind, and his journey of recovery is something that is similar to mine. I've been sober for 10 years, and so I've got lots of things kind of in common with him on a personal level, and he was my number one guy. So fast forward a couple of weeks later, we are in St. Lucia on this random beach, and across 2 tables away is Russell Brand and his now wife Laura. And we couldn't believe it. And we desperately didn't want to be those people who, it's like, they're on holiday, leave them alone, but we couldn't help it. We had to say hello. So we said a passing hi, and we got chatting a little bit. Anyway, they were absolutely wonderful, and we kind of got befriended by them. We had dinner with them the next night, and there was Russell Brand having a full-on conversation with me over dinner. He gave me one of his True's News t-shirts. It's like I had imagined him into existence.
Yeah, that's
literally
amazing.
2 weeks before, I'd listed I would love to sit down and have a meal or a drink with Russell Brand, and here it was happening. It was
amazing.
Pretty freaky. So yeah,
Amazing.
it's good to have these visualizations with your interviewees, because it can happen.
Yes, I'm all about that, and especially lockdown and everything. It's been something I've been focusing on, visualizing and seeing what you want in life. And you'll be surprised. Yeah, you'll be surprised at how they do come to pass, for sure. Well, amazing. Luke, that was absolutely fantastic. I wish you all the best with White Gold. I hope more people see it. I hope it just spreads and gets out there. Very excited for the potential feature, and this has been an absolute pleasure.
Great. Well, thanks for your time, and it's an honor to be a part of your show. And fantastic. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hey guys, thank you so much for watching. If you want to see more inspirational videos just like this, then don't forget to subscribe, which you can do by clicking right over here. Also, leave us a comment in the section below and tell us who you guys would like us to break the ice with next.